just want him to have fun. He's still a kid.
Summer break brings some new concerns for parents.
What I did was I would buy inhalers off people that were out here that found them in the trash.
The medical workers helping the nation's aging homeless population, and a revolutionary heart transplant done by Robot. Welcome to Eye on Health, where we focus on stories that affect your physical and mental well-being. I'm Bradley Blackburn. We begin with major news in the fight against HIV. The FDA has approved the world's only twice-a-year shot to prevent the virus. The drug, called lenacapavir, is marketed under the name Yes2Go and can be used by both men and women. 2 clinical trials showed the injection is nearly 100% effective at stopping new HIV infections. Trial participant Ian Haddock says this is a life-changing and life-saving new tool.
I just got tired of taking pills. It was a preventative measure, and pills were just uncomfortable to remind myself based upon my schedule, based upon what I had going on. Mm-hmm. And so this opportunity to take an injection just made more sense for me.
The medical breakthrough comes as the Trump administration eyes deep cuts to HIV prevention funding.
Yeah, I spoke to a spokeswoman today from Gilead. She said it's going to be about $28,000 a year at list price. But they're making all sorts of efforts, she said, to make it more widely available to everyone. But the problem, of course, is in the United States, we have decreased support from federal programs, both inside the United States and abroad, for HIV prevention. So the question remains, are we going to be able to have access and use and instructions for people who need it?
It's unclear how much insurance would cover for the shot. There are still more than 30,000 new infections of HIV in the U.S. each year. Now to a remarkable surgery. A man received a double hand transplant from doctors in Philadelphia. Stephanie Stahl reports on how it all came together and what's ahead for the patient.
Texting on his phone for the first time in 17 years. For Luca Krijanat, it's a milestone, along with being able to pick up a bottle of water.
So it gives me so much joy to be able to do that completely on my own.
The 29-year-old from Switzerland is back in Philadelphia at Penn Medicine, months after having a double hand transplant.
I started hoping for this as a child.
He says when he was 12, a strep throat wasn't properly treated and turned into a deadly sepsis infection. His hands and legs were amputated to save his life. Prosthetics worked for his legs, but not his hands.
You need it for the most basic independence in life.
His family turned to the City of Independence and the world-renowned transplant team at Penn.
Regaining hands after 17 years, I don't think there is a bigger dream than that.
It took years and a long interruption with the pandemic, but in the fall, the family moved to Philadelphia to wait for the call that finally came from the gift of life. Finding a good hand donor is especially complicated. There has to be a match not only for blood type, but also skin color, age, and size.
There are a lot of structures that need to be hooked up.
Dr. Benjamin Chang was part of the Penn team that performed the 10-hour surgery.
No, it's just cold.
And now Luca is slowly regaining mobility with his new hands and can feel hot and cold water and texture.
I am regaining function every week, every month. But right now, I still need a lot of help.
If you had an opportunity to talk to the donor family where you got these hands, what would you say?
I would want them to know that they changed not just my life, but my family's life forever, and that we're deeply grateful.
Dr. Chang says as the nerves continue to grow, Luca will get more function and feeling in his hands. Stephanie Stahl, CBS News, Philadelphia.
For the first time ever in the U.S., surgeons have successfully performed a fully robotic heart transplant on an adult patient. Janet Chamlian has details.
45-year-old Tony Ibarra is a one-of-a-kind patient.
It's a true blessing.
The first U.S. adult to undergo a successful, fully robotic heart transplant.
I'm always going to have this little scar, but it's okay. It's great.
Ibarra suffered a stroke in 2022, leading to advanced heart failure. Surgeons at Baylor St. Luke's Medical Center in Houston say in March, they used a surgical robot to make small incisions to replace his heart with a donor organ, eliminating the need to break his breastbone and open his chest.
I'm just grateful that they did what they could. They did everything they could do for me, And that's what I asked. I told them, do what you can to save my life. And that's what they did. And I'm really grateful for that.
Ibarra walked out of the hospital healthy 1 month later.
You don't have the major opening of the chest. And what that allows is that allows for quicker recovery time, because the less you need to break open the skin, the muscles, the bone.
Dr. Emgad Makarios is a cardiologist at New York's Northwell Health.
Allowing this type of device to be able to do an actual heart transplant is really a major advance, because now you're talking more precise targeting of the area that you're looking at, decreased infection rates, reduced even sometimes surgery time.
Janet Shamlian, CBS News, Houston.
2 months ago, 4 children injured by bombs in Gaza arrived in the U.S. to receive medical care, including prosthetic limbs. Veronica Ortega spent time with one of the boys during his physical therapy session.
Mohammed Eid is like any other 14-year-old.
He's feisty, he's fun, he's bubbly. He's exactly what you'd expect from a teenager.
He doesn't like getting up early in the morning.
He will throw a fit sometimes, but he's very sweet. He will come back and apologize.
And he loves to eat.
Foods that you've tried that you've really enjoyed?
I don't know with pizza.
Mohammed clutches one side of the parallel bars for support while his physical therapist guides him through exercises.
We had the forearm crutches when he came in, and my goal was to initially get rid of that. So we had to strengthen a lot of the hamstrings, the hips.
His host mom translates.
The first 3 sessions with physical therapy was hard, but it became easier as we go.
It's been a long journey to get here, from surviving the bombing that killed both his parents and a sibling.
It's not easy because, he's still hearing bad news from Gaza.
To his arrival in Detroit after a 10-hour flight from Paris.
He said the reception was very beautiful, very nice. He enjoyed meeting people and knowing people, but it was very tiring the first day.
The fitting of his new prosthetic leg. And walking with it for the very first time.
He was dreaming for that day.
Walking on the treadmill or climbing up steps are still exhausting at this stage. But the goal is to get back to his favorite sports.
There was one day where I had him kick a ball just so he gets to practice something that was fun for him. He was smiling the whole time.
When he returns home in a few weeks, it will be hard on his host mom.
He called me mama sometimes and I love it.
But they will always be in each other's life.
I told him, I'm coming to your wedding. You're not marrying without me.
Mohammed says he's grateful for this opportunity, and this is his message to America.
They're normal kids. They want to play and live, have a future like any other kids in the world.
All they want is peace. In Dearborn Heights, Veronica Ortega, CBS News, Detroit.
In a landmark decision, a divided U.S. Supreme Court upheld a Tennessee law restricting some medical treatments for transgender minors. The law was challenged by the Biden administration and 3 families. In a major case, the Supreme Court considered a Tennessee law passed in 2023 prohibiting treatments like puberty blockers, hormone therapy, and some surgeries for transgender minors. 26 other states have laws with similar restrictions on gender-affirming care. Tennessee claimed it has, quote, a compelling interest in encouraging minors to appreciate their sex, particularly as they undergo puberty. But opponents have argued the treatments are life-saving for teens diagnosed with gender dysphoria. Samantha Williams' daughter is one of the children at the center of the case. She spoke to CBS last year.
I can't imagine her not on her medicine. She's a different kid. She's a healthier, happier kid.
In a 6-3 decision, the U.S. Supreme Court said Tennessee's law does not violate equal protection guaranteed by the 14th Amendment. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote for the majority, quote, our role is not to judge the wisdom, fairness, or logic of the law before us. We leave questions regarding its policy to the people, their elected representatives, and the democratic process.
This now allows states to make the determination as to whether or not they will bar transgender minors or anyone, to the court's point, from obtaining certain medical treatment for gender transition therapy.
Dissenting, Justice Sonia Sotomayor wrote that with the decision, quote, the court abandons transgender children and their families to political whims. Prenatal exposure to toxic substances known as PFAS may cause future health issues. A new study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association found exposure to these so-called forever chemicals before birth can be linked to higher blood pressure once a child is in their teens. The risk is higher for boys and in black children.
What happens is that these chemicals get into our bodies through diet, typically, and we absorb them, and unfortunately they cross the placenta.
Dr. Leonardo Trisande co-authored the AHA's statement on the study. He says these negative effects can linger throughout life.
In early life, what also happens is the baby doesn't grow as well. And a baby that doesn't grow as well is then programmed to avidly hold back calories and as fat, as opposed to use them to make muscle or bone or other parts of their body. And that sets them up for a later risk, as this study did, in all the way to adolescence, of high blood pressure. High blood pressure has longer term implications, potentially all the way out to adulthood, not just for the heart health, but for brain health and other aspects of their functioning.
PFAS are human-made substances that help products resist water, grease, and stains, but they can break down over decades and build up in the environment or in the body. Dr. Trisande recommends not cooking in non-stick pans, and he says never microwave plastic food containers. Coming up, why donating blood is especially helpful this time of year, and the training that prevents botched Botox treatments. Welcome back. The summer months are usually a difficult time for the nation's blood supply. With a dip in donations, healthy blood donors can give blood every 56 days, and platelet donors can give twice per month. More now on why it's critical to roll up your sleeve and donate, especially this time of year. Tyler McGallis gives blood every couple of months, as soon as he's eligible to donate again. The 25-year-old stopped by this blood drive on his way to work.
It's always good to help people. Any way that you can donate for somebody and save someone's life, it's really a big deal.
He's O positive, the most common blood type. Only type O blood can be used in an emergency.
You see more trauma situations, accidents, and the need for blood increases during the summer.
These summer months can be a challenging time for the nation's blood supply, with fewer donations coming in, according to the New York Blood Center. They've declared a blood emergency.
During the summer months, schools are closed. High schools, colleges, people start taking vacations. Because we see a drop in donations from youth donors, that definitely has a major impact on our ability to support hospital needs.
Bobby DeQuara is the owner of Greenhouse Cafe in Brooklyn. They've been hosting blood drives for over 15 years to honor his daughter Haley, who died in 2013.
We've collected close to 5,000 pints. We'll hit 5,000 pints before the end of the year, and that could save 15,000 lives.
65-year-old Kevin Pod is A positive. He's been donating regularly the last few years, grateful that rules restricting gay and bisexual men from giving blood were eliminated. The blood donor screening process is now based on individual assessment, not sexual or gender identity.
It's an important thing. There's a shortage of blood all the time, and I just want to help.
These donors encourage everyone this summer and all year long to save a life. On any given night, nearly 140,000 Americans 55 years old or older experience homelessness, and it's estimated that number could nearly triple by 2030. Elise Preston has more on the cause of the surge and what's being done to address the growing crisis.
Good morning, Rose.
This is no ordinary house call.
It's Daniel from Healthcare in Action.
A medical team arrived at this RV to treat Rose Del Rosario, who is 65 years old and unhoused.
Let's go around the side because we got the little...
Her vitals are taken inside a medical van parked across the street. Del Rosario suffers from high blood pressure and lifelong asthma.
You were battling asthma without any treatment.
What I did was I would buy inhalers off people that were out here that found them in the trash.
Did you feel safe using those inhalers from...
Not really.
She says she had no money left after her husband died several years ago, and she wound up on the streets.
May I ask what it feels like to be navigating all of this at the age of 65?
It makes you feel older. I feel like it's aging me, you know. I feel like it's aging me a lot. Yeah, that's about it. It's just tiring. It's just hard to live like this.
According to a federal report, about 20% of people experiencing homelessness in America last year were 55 and older. It's usually caused by the death of a spouse, divorce, job loss, eviction, or mounting health issues. Daniel Speller is a physician associate for Healthcare in Action, a nonprofit organization that provides medical care and housing assistance for those without permanent shelter, including older adults.
You're not having any chest pain today? These are folks who are kind of entering the stage where they're starting to have, multiple complex chronic medical conditions that need to be met, and they're just not being met. Heart disease, diabetes, a lot of pain, a lot of mental health issues. They're also the most vulnerable.
Dr. Indu Sabaya is Healthcare in Action CEO. She fears the impact rising costs and cuts to government programs like Medicaid will have on seniors.
If there are cuts to Medicaid, what happens to them?
I don't believe we should be cutting Medicaid for those populations. We should leave those intact, and that will be so helpful to people not falling further into the hole.
At 65, where did you think you would be for retirement?
In a nice, comfortable rocking chair, waiting for this casserole to come out of the oven. I didn't think it would be like this.
Despite her struggles, there's a glimmer of hope, kindness helping her survive. Elise Preston, CBS News, Los Angeles.
In the quest for beauty, more people than ever are turning to injectables like Botox or Juvederm. While generally safe, if they're not administered properly, injectable procedures can cause disappointment or even dangerous complications. Dr. Malika Marshall reports on a Boston-based company training healthcare professionals how to do it the right way.
Alexandra Rogers and Alexa Nichols-Costa, both nurse practitioners, are co-owners of LexRx, a med spa that offers injectable cosmetic treatments like Botox, dermal fillers, and biostimulators.
What we've seen over the last 10 years is that injectables, aesthetic treatments, facial treatments have become so casual in a way that we sometimes lose sight that a lot of what we're doing are actually medical-based procedures.
They've seen their share of botched treatments.
With Botox treatments specifically, if the injections are misplaced or if the dosing is too heavy, you can actually have a really flat and heavy brow or a heavy lid where you can't even open your eyelid.
Filler in the wrong place could block a blood vessel, leading to tissue death.
LexRx has now branched out to teaching other health professionals how to inject Botox and fillers at Columbia and Boston College.
They are the only courses that are university affiliated and accredited through a body that has a higher standard of academic excellence.
Inject with Lex trains all kinds of healthcare professionals, including nurse practitioner Katie Duke, who pivoted to aesthetics after suddenly losing her job.
I have been getting aesthetic treatments for 20 years, and I wanted to learn aesthetics.
She took several courses last year and says being able to inject real drugs into real humans versus mannequins made a huge difference.
We had clients who've been getting these services for years, and they were like, you can do whatever you want to me. Go ahead and get your practice in, girl. And we had clients who were like, I'm really nervous. Is this going to hurt?
Katie says the courses gave her the boost of confidence she needed. Dr. Malika Marshall, CBS News, Charlestown, Massachusetts.
After the break, the best sunscreen to avoid burns this summer, and a new type of yoga stretching the body and mind. Welcome back. School's out in many parts of the country, and a new study suggests it's already stressing out many parents. They're concerned about their kids' mental health in the summer months and finding the right balance of activities. We spoke to some parents and experts. Preschooler Abraham will be headed to kindergarten in September, but right now his mom, Jessica Monroe Garcia, is focused on serving up a memorable summer.
I just want him to have fun. He's still a kid before we have to go back into school in the fall.
For many parents, summer break sparks real fears, or what Dr. Ariana Howitt calls the summer scaries.
That feeling that parents are getting right as kids are starting to get ready for the summer break and thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with my kids?
Howitt is executive clinical director for the Kids Mental Health Foundation, which found in a new survey that top summer concerns include overdoing it on screen time, boredom or lack of structured activities, and disrupted routines or sleep schedules. But every family is different.
We have the parents that are worried that my child's not doing enough and they're just sitting at home. And then we have the parents that are like, oh, maybe I schedule too many activities.
I would be overwhelmed if I had a packed summer like that. It's so nice when they can just be outside and just be kind of relaxed about things.
Doctors say when school is out, structure is still important. Routines and schedules can support mental health even when they're not strict.
Helps us know what to expect. So have them wake up and go to bed at the same time every day. Have them eat their meals around the same time every day. And then schedule the connecting times, time with family, time with friends, schedule time for hobbies and things that brings them joy.
Finding room for fun in the summer sun and a reminder to relax for both kids and their parents. Another summer concern for parents and really anyone, sunburns. Consumer Reports is out with new recommendations for the best sunscreens. They partnered with a lab that specializes in testing sunscreens to determine which are most effective at blocking harmful rays. Topping the list of lotions, Coppertone Water Baby's SPF 50.
UVB rays are the ones that are responsible for the burning. So there's ultraviolet A is the ones that make you look weathered, and B rays are the ones that really burn you.
Consumer Reports Deputy Editor Brian Vines has tips for protecting yourself properly and says anything under SPF 30 isn't worth your time.
Really, you should be putting a teaspoon onto every part of you. A teaspoon on your face, a teaspoon on each body part, but about a shot glass worth for your body if you're in bikini time.
For those who prefer sunscreen in spray form, the Eucerin Advanced Hydration Spray SPF 50 was the top choice. Regardless of type, Vines says the best sunscreen is the one you use consistently all year long. A new type of yoga could help seniors improve their health, both physically and mentally. Christian Benavides reports on some new moves that appear to be working.
This yoga class at the University of Miami is a test in both skill and memory. Frances Vega, who is in her 60s, was among the participants in a study looking at how a twist in traditional yoga
Breathing into pose
could benefit older adults.
The program was an amazing program, not only cognitive, but also my balance and my flexibility have improved greatly.
The new form of yoga is called Yoga Q. It relies on the participants' memory to perform poses.
it adds this cognitive component to yoga.
Brooke Fitzgerald is the yoga instructor. First, she teaches the class yoga poses, but instead of repeating the poses each time, she connects them to a cue.
We basically incorporate what are called flows, which are sequences of poses strung together, and then we'll add like a color name to it.
The participants then must recall the movement from memory. Dr. Joseph Signorelli at UM's Lab of Neuromuscular Research and Active Aging created the program with one of his PhD students.
They have to move their body in a series of individual poses, one after another, that matches the cue that they were just provided.
Think about what.
After just 6 months of yoga work, with classes 3 times a week, the study found a significant improvement in cognitive testing when compared to a control group.
The cognitive changes surprised us because the cognitive changes were so much better for the Yoga Q program.
For those like Vega, whose mother had some dementia before she passed away at 97, these classes are more than just exercise.
I think everyone's seen improvement in the strength and in the cognitive skills.
It's a workout for both body and mind. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
Staying sharp and flexible. That's Eye on Health for this week. I'm Bradley Blackburn. Thanks for joining us.